everyone, welcome to KSP TV. Today we have with us a very accomplished and an educational and sports enthusiastic family with us. We have Fatima Agarkar and Ajit Agarkar with us. So thank you both. I'm going to, obviously both of them need no introduction, but I'm going to still ask them. When I was given this job, I thought it was really hard, so I'm going to leave it to them and sum themselves up in 140 characters.
Been in education. I'm actually from the corporate world, moved to education, possibly because I love kids and hoping to create more opportunities for many more. I have an 11-year-old who keeps me busy, so I'm a mom, a passionate, enthusiastic wife of a cricketer, now golfer.
I'm Ajit Agarkar. I used to play cricket a little bit. I wish I'd played golf a little bit before. Avid golfer, a very proud dad, and very, very excited to be here. So, thank you for having me.
Biggest Manchester United.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's interesting. I'm sure a lot of people are going to reckon with that one.
And Chelsea supporters and Arsenal out there as well.
So how do you deal, Fatima, with so much of sports in the family? I remember when I met Fatima first, she obviously mentioned that your dad, daughter of a sports person.
Yeah, daughter,
married?
sister, daughter-in-law, wife, and mother.
Yeah. So how do you deal with some sports in the family, or you're a sports enthusiast yourself?
To be honest, because when you grow up with that world and that orientation, it just comes naturally. It's part of your DNA. And I've actually seen how that works in terms of life skills that the kids can pick up. And honestly, my son has become a more complete player or human being because of the fact that Ajit, from the early age, has encouraged. And it works, whether it's university applications or whether you learn to deal with your anger, your emotions, teamwork. I think sport plays a significant part, and I think kids need to play a lot more than they do.
Ajit, what would you say? You've obviously played at the national level and you played for the country. I mean, I don't think there's any bigger pride. What would you say has been the single most contribution to your life being a sports person?
Just taught me discipline. I think work ethics, those sorts of things, and you have such a routine for 20, 25 years that you play. It just becomes part of your life. Just gives you a different perspective to look at life after you finish. I think it's helped me more after I finished cricket, because while you're playing, you're still in the bubble. All you're worried about is your next game or that particular game, and especially when you've seen winning and losing so much, and on a large scale, cricket being so popular in India, the ups and downs are so much that you learn that balance in your life, which then helps you later on.
That brings me to my next question. Do you teach your son to lose? Because you've seen both of it in your careers, right?
Not really. I mean, I'd always insist on anyone really wanting to go out there, any competitive stuff that you do to try and win. You've got to know how to handle a loss. Yeah, I mean, that's just part of life. Nobody has won everything that they've been part of. So that's a tough thing to tell a 10-year-old or 11-year-old. I'll always encourage him to try and win everything he plays, but I keep grinding into him that it's okay to lose. I mean, you've got to show the other person the same sort of respect because he's trying just as hard.
Would you feel like in the sporting fraternity there has been a dimensional change from the time that you started to what your son is going through now?
There's definitely been a change, but I don't think there's enough yet that you see. I mean, it's I've been sort of following his little progress in school, and I think there needs to be a lot more done. And it's not about 8 or 9-year-old or 10-year-olds deciding whether they want to be a Tendulkar tomorrow or a Ronaldo. It's about playing sport. I did start playing cricket because I had some great aspirations at age 12. You just play the sport because you enjoy it, and then as you get better at it, you know what you need to do. All things fall into place, but it's about getting out there, and unless opportunities are provided, it's always harder for kids to sometimes do it on their own. As much as it's changed now from the time that I play.
So, I mean, are we infusing technology and using future learning methods even into sports? Do you see that?
There is a lot being done. I mean, there are so many of these online things, but eventually it's about guys, kids getting out and actually playing. It doesn't have to be one particular sport. I mean, you can still play 5 different sports and.
No, absolutely. So you mentioned that you at the age of 10 and 12, you didn't know if you were going to get into this sort of, you were going to play competitive professional cricket. What was that inflection point that said, hey, this is it, and I'm now playing for India? Or I'm going to take this as a career?
I don't know. I think it's just happened with me. I think kids are a lot more focused now. I think there are better avenues. At least when I started playing, the only way was to play for India or to play for Mumbai in the Ranji Trophy. Now you've got so many other tournaments or T20 cricket so big, you can actually make a career out of cricket.
Ajit, what do you think is going to be the differentiate, and what made you? Is there rote learning in cricket? Like, do you rote a stroke, or do you do you know that okay, this technique with this batsman is going to work?
I suppose there are basics there which you have to. If your base is strong, then you can always build on it. It's one of those things where there's no substitute for hard work, and that's our coach Ramakant Atsrekar. I think he told me very early on when I started playing cricket that you'll have enough time in life to rest. This is not the time to rest. This is the time to put in work. Now that work could be and it's not work as in your, at least in cricket or cricket analogy, not on the ground for 20 hours. But actually doing quality stuff and how you go about it as an individual.
Interesting. What are the values that you want to give your kids?
Couple of things. I'd like him to be honest with what he does, which I learned from my parents, and maybe respect. Respect for everyone. I want him to try and tell us everything that he's going through or he wants to, and not hide.
Keep that channel open.
Yeah, and we try and spend as much time as we can whenever he's home. So it's very exciting.
What about you?
Marty, I just wish that he'd be open-minded, because there's a lot of information that comes his way, and kids these days tend to be a little more protective of their views, and their way is the highway. I'm hoping that children can just listen, respect, like Ajit said, and just accept different points of views. And that's going to be a critical skill even in the 21st century learning. If you can listen to each other, be open-minded, and then play as per each other's strengths. So for me, that's important. Honesty is already mentioned, and a little more principle.
Ajit, I have one more question for you. You obviously said in your introduction that you wish you'd played golf earlier. Do you ever feel that as parents we're very result-oriented, or we're moving to a result-oriented approach with our children as well, especially with sports?
Yeah, I think majority of parents are. I mean, keep saying all the time, you want your kids to play every sport, any amount of sport, different sport that they can without, and if it has to, develop into something later on, it will, eventually. But expose them to it. Don't be too fussed about results. Wins and losses are just part of life. But playing different sport and playing it to enjoy it. And having a good time getting out there and working hard, which automatically happens if you're outdoors.
One piece of advice you would give to your son if he were to play for India?
I'll be stressed. Because of sort of my background, the career that I've had, I've learned very quickly, and especially with the sport in India, the reactions are so extreme that you learn balance very quickly. I mean, you can be the best player in the world one day and not good enough to play cricket the next day. So that balance has come quickly, and that's what I want him to have.
Great, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I wish you guys lots of success to your son. Best wishes always. And thank you so much for spending time with us.
Oh, thank you.
Mansi. It's
Pleasure.
been a pleasure.